Good morning and welcome. I'm Bob Pace, your host, and I want to apologize for starting late this morning. We had typical difficulties. I have a code for the SteamYard application that I'm using, and apparently it went missing. I requested another code, and it never came, and so I'm actually signed in as a guest. So I don't have a lot of um, the expertise that I have as being. I mean, this is I guess like what you guys do when you sign in. But anyway, it should work. Um, I don't see any chat from people, so I can't answer your chat. All I got is private chat, and so um, I won't be able to see who's on or what or who's texting me something. Maybe I will see a comment. I don't know, but I don't have any any of the chat from you guys. So, with that being said, and again, I don't know who's online or anybody. I can't see any of the icons at the top. I'm a guest on my show here, my podcast. So hopefully you can hear me. Um, this is a live podcast via YouTube using the SteamYard application, and it's found on Facebook. And I wanted to welcome you all about CPS. CPS is the Child Protection Services, and it's a branch of social services. It's been around for over 150 years. Started in, I think, 1853 as a children's aid society. But we've been trying to help out children and protect our children since the Civil War. Now, that being said, there's been a lot of changes, but I still think there's severe problems with the organization. And you're probably experiencing it now. Um, I don't know if we have a guest, but if you call in, I can take your phone call and put on speakerphone and have you talk. I would appreciate if someone would do that. Call in. Whoever's out there listening, I can't tell who's listening or who's on, but anyway, the call in on my office number is 626 698 0990. That's 626 698 0990. And you'll be able to talk. They won't see your face, but you'll be able to talk on the speaker on my phone. And then maybe someone out there can hear and be helped by maybe your case has something, or you can help out others. Um, okay, I can see the comments. So that is good. I can see the comments. Um, that's good news. I can see that. So if you want to text in your comments, it'd be much appreciated. All you have to do is put your name, the city, and state, and then type what you want. Your question answer related to CPS. Um, CPS is a very, very hard organization to deal with. It's very complex. And the more you get involved, the worse it gets. Now, if you have something to text, all you do is list your name, the city, and the state where you're from, and then ask away. Now, I do get text messages and phone calls calling in from other countries. I've had Australia, Canada, United Kingdom, Ghana, and Mexico text in. Mexico actually was a call in. The guy from Mexico City wanted to somehow get his two daughters back. It was a complicated, but he had heard about it. So I know that the Facebook is worldwide, and people always want to know about CPS because it seems to be The worst nightmare you ever get yourself into. It was with me. I was very much involved. I've been fighting CPS for 14 years, 3 years with my children that were stolen from me. And then 5 years before that, um, with false allegations, I kept trying to defend for 5 years. So, those are two ways you can interact with this podcast. Either call in 626-698-0990 or text me a request. Now, I have a producer. Her name is Grace. She works really hard to make this show happen, and I appreciate her. But she will also help you put you on one of my 14 podcasts. I do 14 shows a week, 7 days a week, once in the morning at 10 o'clock a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and once at nighttime, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Now, I do that every day, except on Sunday, I'm on a little bit later, half an hour later, because there's another podcast that's on when I normally go on. So, with that being said, those are simple ways. This is an interactive show. Your comments are very important to me. Your phone call is very important to me. And to be our guest on the show, I'd love to have you, because when you email Grace at vincentwdavis.com and ask her to be on my morning show or evening show or Saturday show or Sunday show, she'll line you up, and then she'll send you an email with the link, and you link in just like I'm doing right now. I have a code to get in, but my code couldn't come to me. And so I had to have Grace, my producer, sign me in as a guest. And I do see the comments there, so I can see you read your comments. And my phone is on; it's ready to take calls. It's a internet phone application I use. It's called Vonage, and it takes the calls. And right now, I'm at the call right there. You're probably wondering, what can it do about CPS? And it's a tough agency. Now, I try to make my shows different. I try to talk about other subjects, and with guests, it helps. So, if there's a particular thing you'd like me to talk on, I research on the internet topics to like one important topic is that how do I do complaints about the broad case, the County Child Welfare Service Agency. CPS is a branch of your County Child Welfare Service Agency. And so if you have any problem, there's ways you can make complaint. That's how late people will call in, and they'll see that, and it says reporting suspected child abuse. Now, what they do, they have a hotline number, and people call in. The downside of calling complaints, I know what the purpose is to address the child who might be in imminent danger. But, there's two kinds of people that do complaints: the lay people and the professional. Now, the lay people are strictly, your friends, your relatives, your in-laws, your neighbors, people that don't have a job working with children. Now, professionals are your firemen, your teachers, your counselors, your doctors, your nurses, anybody that works with children, has children around, has to, by law, report a suspected child abuse or neglect. and they just call the same hotline that the lay people do. The only problem is a lot of people use it to retaliate against your neighbor, against your spouse, to get your children alienated. It's really sad, but it's really rampant. In my case, it was. And I did not know until after my case was well over. If I knew at the beginning, maybe I could stop it. But it's the ridiculous things were coming in about me and my family. My kids were perfectly fine up until CPS took them and messed them up. See, that's the sad part. They usually go after people with no income, low income, homeless, or barely making it ends meet. And in my case, and also not very college educated, can't afford attorney and those kinds of things. So that being said, that's sad because all they want to do is open a case so they can start collecting money from the federal government and the state. They get well over $20,000, a month for each child. They get bonuses. They get all kinds of kickbacks. There was a report not too long ago of $389,000 in Kentucky County child support that went unaccounted for. You see, that's the sad part. There's no accountability for this child protection services. It may have different names, but it's the ones that protect your children. They're not transparent. They don't have a board of supervisors or directors. The social workers are not college education necessary. They don't have classes in social work. They don't have a license and a certificate. And they haven't even mentor experienced one like they should before they start involving themselves with family and children, because us as family are lost. We are so lost. We're so lost in the system. They retaliate against parents. They really want to steal your children. They do alienation, which is wrong. Alienation is when you try to make the parent look bad and take the children, brainwash the children, and they do that all the time. It's against the law. People that are going through divorce use alienation because they want full custody of the children. I tell you, I've experienced it all. This is my second marriage. Been married for 32 years. So I have experienced divorce. I've experienced being with no money. And I've experienced with having lots of money and experienced having beautiful homes and then have no home. I have lived in my RX-7 for a period of time. So I know what it is to be homeless. I know what it is to lose your children. I know what it is to fight CPS. And it's a miserable existence of an agency. All the workers talked to me about my social worker was, I got a new Gucci purse, or look at my eyelashes, or look at my makeup. I'm driving now a BMW car because I got these bonuses, or I go on vacation somewhere. And I tried to fight CPS. CPS was the worst agency to really fight. They're not fair. They don't listen. I went all the way to the top, to the director in the Southern California, the county in Southern California, and they have a building that I met him in, and it's the Taj Mahal of buildings. I mean, it looked like something in the Taj Mahal in India. It was a tall glass green building, something like the Emerald City in the Wizard of Oz. And the director I met was so weighted down with gold necklaces, I thought he'd fall over. And so with his supervisors, his managers, supervisors, I met with them too. I met with everybody. And I'd write very professional emails, letters, and I'd very professionally meet and talk with them. I wouldn't argue with them and listen. And they made my case harder. Every time I sent an email or said they were violating my constitutional rights or my civil rights, they would nail me back. And it wasn't until I got an attorney. And that leads me to my first rule: you must have an attorney. And you're probably saying, I can't afford it. I couldn't afford it. I had lost my job in 2015 through 2010 through no fault of my own. I had a good paying job. I had a beautiful home. But things were going bad, and it started in 2007 when I saw half of my 40 years of retirement get lost in the stock market because it was being invested by the company's retirement plan administrators. It was also influenced by the failing of the banks. The banks in 2007 went bankrupt because they gave out too many um, fraudulent loans. And I had one too. I did not know it. And they never qualified people. And when they do, they jacked up their income and changed the documents. That's so the lender, the guy who doing the lending, could get a bonus. And it was really strange. As I look back, and I remember when I qualified for a home that was 3 times more than the home I was in, I was shocked. I found out later that my income was doubled or tripled, and the paperwork was messed up. So it was hard because what are those loans called? I forgot the name of it. Not fraud loans, but predator loans, or they were loans that a lot of lenders went bankrupt. Anyway, the guy that gave me the loan, the personal guy, is still out there doing the same thing today. And if I ever see him, I'll let him have my peace of mind because, he was really good. He gave me a credit line, and then 6 months later, he refinanced me for no cost and a bigger credit line. It was ridiculous. It was totally ridiculous. And I should have said right on the phone. I said, this is too good to be true. I got my dream home, and it was a beautiful home. And unfortunately, I had to sell it to pay for an attorney to fight to get my kids back. It was really, really sad. It really was sad. I sold my home in April of 2017, got my kids back in December 2017. There were 3 kids stolen, but one of them was brainwashed to divorce us as parents, her brothers, her grandparents, her cousins, relatives, and to seal her birth certificate and to change her name. That was all administered by the social worker. She threatened when she lost. At the time of the case, they were trying to give my daughter to my wife's sister, who was trying to adopt him. And they were saying all kinds of lies. And when my lawyer bit into her and saw the social worker lie in front of the court, they lost the adoption. So she turned around and brainwashed my daughter at 12. You need to divorce your parents. You need to seal your birth certificate, and you need to change your name. It was sad because when they divorce you, you no longer have custody or ties with your children. It is really sad. She's 21 now, and I miss her every day. I just go on like that. Our case started in 2015 and in 2017. Okay, I'm sorry. Somehow I was taken out. It's hard when this is as your guest, so I logged back in. I was clicking a tab to talk about something, and it ended up taking me out. So, um, It was hard there. Um, Hopefully, it says I have 20 minutes left. Grace, if you're still there, you can send something in private chat. So hopefully, I'm still transmitting on this. Um, I don't see any other comments from anybody. Hopefully, someone will type in a comment. I got the page open there. So anyway, I was getting back to that first rule. And the first rule, I said you need an attorney. And why? Because you're in an agency that's very corrupt, not transparent, deceitful, hurt the parents, hurt the children, and traffic your child and alienate your child, which is against the law. You cannot do alienation. Parents try to do that to get the full custody of their children. It's wrong. It's wrong. It really is wrong. So, um, so going back to this first rule is I want to help you get that because I didn't get one. I mean, it was terrible. I was getting nowhere fighting them. They're not fair. They don't care, and you complain, and it gets worse. And I found an attorney, and I didn't even do my own rule. But anyway, what you should do is you should get list of 10 attorneys. A list started. Create a list of 10 attorneys and their phone numbers that are family law attorneys. Family law. That's the area that you're in. Ones that deal with juvenile and dependency court. From that list of 10, you would narrow it down to 5 of the attorneys who have done CPS cases, have fought CPS, and one that got their children back. And of those 5, you want to interview. You want to interview them and see if you have the right chemistry and that you can afford. Okay? So, um, um, so you got to get these 5 attorneys to talk to them and check out their fees because they all will charge. A lot of people says, "Well, I got an attorney. He was given to me at court." Well, your constitutional right says that in any criminal matters, you're supposed to be represented by an attorney. And if you can't afford one, one will be court appointed. That is your public defender. And I got bad news for you. Those public defenders are awful. They're young. They're just starting out. They never had a case before. They'll talk to you the last minute before you go into your courtroom, and they'll keep you in the dark. They don't help you. They work for social services. They work for the judge in the room. It's like they're all pals of wowsy in the kangaroo court. You'll find the court horrible. And this is firsthand knowledge. This isn't here from other people, but supported by over the 100 some people I've talked to in different states. It isn't all in California. It isn't all in Maine or Florida or Texas or Georgia or Kentucky. Even the reservation in South Dakota, the Rosebud Reservation, the Lakota Sioux Indians, the Native American Indians, the first immigrants of our country, They too have similar problems. And I'll talk a little bit about ICWA. the Indian Child Welfare Act. That's very important you know about ICWA because it protects all you Indian people out there, your Indian children people out there. So if any Native American Indians listening, I could give you that information because they work differently than CPS does when you talk to them. And also, I've had a guest on the show that was the military, and the military has their own CPS workers. And I was shocked to know that there's similar things that was happening there. I just, you know, it's kind of hard, but I see this firsthand, and I really I feel for you guys what you're going through. I know you can't leave emotes or anything because I'm a guest in here, so all you can do is type me in a comment, a text in a comment if you could. That'd be nice. Again, put your name and the city and state you're from and what your CPS question is. So I know my comments work. I know that uh, the chat's working because everybody's hearing me. Excuse me. Um, Going back to the first attorney, you've narrowed down to 5. Well, I have an attorney that you can talk to right now. This show is produced by his law firm, Vincent W. Davis and Associates, produces this podcast. And they have lots of attorneys. They'll deal with immigration. They'll deal with um, uh, loan defaults. You lay off at work. Your medical there's anything that needs legal attention. They have an attorney for that need. But the area you're in is family law, and you need a family law attorney that can work in dependency court, that has fought uh, child protection service and has actually won. And the attorney I'm talking about, his name is Vincent W. Davis. He's a professional law attorney, and he has many years of experience of fighting CPS and beating CPS and getting the children returned. A lot of things that he's taught me, I've learned from him, and so I'm sharing those to you. And he offers a consultation for a price of $49.99 for 30 minutes. That's $50. He'll talk to you for 30 minutes, and he'll give you the strategies of how to fight CPS and get your children back. He has those strategies. He's good. You have nothing to lose. It's a well worth investment of $50. I know money's hard to come by, and maybe 50 is too much. But, you have to come up with the money somehow. Maybe there's something you could sell off or mortgage off or whatever, take a loan out or something. Because he will give you all these strategies of how to fight CPS and get your children back or not be taken. Now, if you like him and the chemistry is good, then hire him. His retainer is very reasonable, and he charges more if he goes to Northern California or goes to one of the 50 states because he has to cover his travel expenses and his accommodations. So, that fee is included in there. And it's retainer. And when the retainer drops to a certain level, it's got to be replenished again. He's not asking for the whole amount of money to do your case. He's asking for a retainer, a small amount of money deposit so you get your case started. And it also depends on how complex the case is and how long it's been going on. But he'll give you a fair price and you can talk to him. So there's one person, I listed 10 I've given you. And set up a consultation with them. You just call into the office at 888-888-6582 and say you want a consultation with Mr. Davis for 30 minutes. And they'll take your credit card with the amount of $49.99 for 30 minutes. And then they'll set up a time for you and him to meet. And when you call into the office, tell them that Bob Pace sent you. And also when you talk to Mr. Davis, say that Bob Pace sent you. It's really important. So that's my rule number 1. You got to get an attorney. It's very similar to a doctor working in open heart surgery. You have to understand CPS isn't a simple matter. It's like open heart surgery. When you have open heart surgery, you need a professional doctor in. I mean, you could have a layperson do the surgery, or yourself could try to do it, or maybe a beginning doctor. But these doctors, professional doctors, have been, going to school, medical school, did an internship, and then do a mentor with another doctor to gain full experience before they operate on you. And that's what I'm saying. That's why you need an attorney. And I can't emphasize that Mr. Davis will really help you. And he can be reached at 888-888-6582. Okay, I'm halfway through the show, and still nobody wants to call in. The number again is 626-698-0990. That's my office number, and you can call. And I'll answer the call and put you on the show live. So I hope you're all doing well. I have no idea who's on right now. I have no idea who is on. I don't see any emojis or an eye who's watching with the number of people in there. So I assume there's people there. And again, you can ask me questions. You can just text me in the comment in a part of your screen where you make comments. Okay. My case is on the right side. It'll say private chat and comments. You go to the word comments, and then you put your name and your name's already on here because when you sign into StreamYard, your name is. So all I really need is your city and state. All I need is your city and state on that. So love to hear from you. So I gave you rule number 1. I've talked a little about the agency. I've talked about allegations. And going back there, they could be the death of you. My allegations were none founded, and they were able to trick me after 5 years of hassling me to get in my home. And they used what they saw in my home against me. They couldn't find anything they're looking for, neglect or abuse. But they saw the boxes and chairs of furniture I had stacked in the home only because I had lost my job in 2010, and my parents had recently informed me that they were passing away, or they knew their time was up and they wanted to send all their belongings to other relatives. And it is sad. I don't know how I can emphasize, when your parents die, and, but they took advantage of me. They took advantage of me. And that leads me to rule number 3. I'm going to come back and talk about rule number 2, but rule number 3 is you never talk to the social workers or police. It's yes, no answers. You don't want to tell them the reasons or anything, or you can open your home. It's your home. They cannot come in your home. They cannot take your children. And they cannot take your children at another person's home. And they cannot take your children from the hospital if you're just gave birth and so forth. It's so sad to hear about parents out there that these social workers will come into a birthing room and steal the child still with birth parts attached to it. It's gross. First of all, the hospital says everybody waits in the lobby. Family members may see if the patient agrees to. So don't agree to see a social worker. And if they're with the police, that's called intimidation. They have to have a search warrant for them to come into your hospital room and take your child. They have to have a search warrant that says we can take your children. They have to have a search warrant to talk to you or anything like that. They got to have a legal document. It's called a warrant, a search warrant, and signed by a judge. And on there, specific details of when, where, and who they need to talk to and what the allegations are. If they don't have it or they think they have a fake copy of transfer, don't let them in. All you can do is very nice thing to tell them is that I'm represented by an attorney. My attorney will get back to you. That's all you have to say. Give me your name and number, and they'll get back to you. If you say you're represented by an attorney, most likely they'll leave you alone. But what most people do, like me, I'm friendly, and I will talk to them, and they will ask the right kind of questions and drill stuff that they'll use against you. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make a case. They want your child, so they're going to say your child's in imminent danger and we got to take them. And they may not be in imminent danger. If you've done some hiccups, meaning you've done some things that are not very good to the kids, then you can get that fixed. You can take parenting classes, programs, get help. It's not the end of the world. It shouldn't be. It should not be. I mean, if you do illegal drugs, that's not good for children. Illegal drugs cannot be around a child. You know, you're not supposed to be doing drugs or even alcohol or smoking around children. Children are not allowed to drink or smoke or do drugs. And two, in some states, 21. And some people don't know that or understand that. But it happens all the time. It happens all the time. So don't let them in your house. Don't speak to them. The policemen are very intimidating. They'll have their battle fatigues on and their combat boots, and they look really mean and furious. They should have a whole different approach when they deal with public people, because public people are feared by them. They should not initiate fear. And they do so because a lot of policemen are blindsided, killed. So it's hard for them too. They're on the other side of a gun, pointing at them, they're going to shoot them. So they shoot first, and of course they're well trained, but they end up killing them. I wish they somehow can maim people before killing them. But anyway, maybe there's a weapon besides a taser to fully immobilize somebody. I don't know. They have tasers. There's a movie called Battleship, and the young kid that was at a bar met a girl, and she wanted a burrito, and the place because she just closed, so he broke in, and the wine police came, and he was struggling to get back to this girl with the burrito, and they tased him. And it pretty much stopped him, but it looked like it took a long time to tase him. So I don't know. It's just that the police, you don't need to talk to them. You don't need to open your door. If it's an imminent danger, they'll break the door down. But you don't need to open your door. Your castle is your home. It's your safe place of refuge. And after 5 years, hey, Rachel. Hey, I got my first text message. Hey, Rachel, where you at? I mean, what city and state? I forgot. But I'm glad I'm going to come live in this room. And if you have a question, Rachel, or if you want to call in at 626-698-0990. But anyway, they were following me, I guess, when I picked up my son at elementary school, and followed me for quite some time, which was very peculiar. And I was stopped by a black and white going the other direction because I guess the detective that's following me asked him to stop me. And they said the reason why I'm stopping you because you ran a stop sign. I said, what? The stop sign you're referring to was 5 miles back, 10 minutes back. So why are you, and I started to talk for. He said, well, there's a guy behind me that wants to talk to you. I should have said, look, give me the ticket. We'll settle this in court. Because I know I'd stopped in the stop sign. I did the 3-second rule. They were just trying to get some way to stop me so they can trick me. And the detective came up, and without saying what he was there for, why he was following me, or anything else, he says, "You're coming to your house." I said, "Why?" He wouldn't tell me. That is not being transparent. That's being deceiving. So that was really hard. That was so hard. And I was taught to believe in the police. I was taught to believe in government agencies. They would not do you harm. They're supposed to give you aid and help you. But instead, they're not. The agencies are bad, and we have a bad police department here. Um, so went back to my home, and when I got to my home, it was a horrendous sight to see because there was 5 firemen, 3 social workers, 2 code enforcement officers, and 2 uniformed policemen and the detective. And all these people were in my front yard. Why? I live in a private gated, not gated, but a private community. I wish it was gated because then it would keep a lot of those people out, the riffraff. But anyway, we had CCNRs and rules and stuff, and it was embarrassing me to my neighbors. They're wondering what in the world is all these people out here and why they need all these people to resolve an issue. All they could do is, write me a letter or what the problem is, I get it fixed. But they don't write letters, I notice. They like to do the lazy way, and that's a phone call. And that goes me back to the allegations when they start. All allegations should not be anonymous. They do not need to be given to the party that the allegations are about, but they need to be in writing and signed by the person they test the information is true, because that will weed out all the false allegations. That would weed out all the false allegations. We need that rule changed or that rule added or whatever. That would alleviate all the false allegations. I mean, the imminent danger in my case is the boxers are going to attack my kids. Somehow they're going to fly up to the bedrooms, or the furniture is going to take a walk up the stairs to the bedrooms. I don't know what, still to this day, what negligence I'm doing with my children by having boxes stacked or furniture stacked. They wouldn't come down. Yes, they may fall in an earthquake, but you don't know when that's going to happen. It's unforeseen, and there's a chance that you won't be hurt in an earthquake. But the allegations, so here are these policemen entering my house with combat boots, putting dirt everywhere. They go upstairs to my master bedroom and break the bamboo reclining rest chair, looking out at the pool. I mean, that's how bad their house habits are. They don't care about the imprint of their combat boot or the broken bamboo. There's no offer to get it paid or anything. So right away, I could see this was messy. Right away, I could distrust the police, distrust the social worker. I should never have let them follow me home. I should never have done that. I should never have done that. Rachel, do you have anything to ask? If you can hear me, Rachel, you can text in a message, or you can call in at 626-698-0990. So this rule number 3 is really meant to tell you that you don't need to open up. There was a lady in Boston, Massachusetts, who's had medical treatment in Boston, so she gave her children over to her mom to watch in Rhode Island. And the Boston CPS, wherever county that serves in there, went to Rhode Island and stole the children from the grandmother, made some lie and everything. They will lie. They're very deceitful. The first thing when they meet you is, "Oh, we'll help you and we care about you. We know it's only a small." They don't do that. They try to get you so well comfortable that you tell them everything, and a lot of stuff isn't true. A lot of things you're being, told that you're alleged to or whatever it is. But I know what you're going through. I was going through it very, very, very bad. And the things are, you'd never let them into your home, and you don't need to talk to them. And if you tell them you have an attorney, if you have not hired one, they don't know that. but I'd sure get one in a couple of days. So if they did call, and want that information, but what you need to do is that you need to protect um, yourself from the abuse that these social workers will put you through. They enjoy hurting parents. They enjoy trafficking kids and put them for adoption and foster care. They don't have to do that, but they love that feeling of power. I think that's what it is. It's a feeling of power. Maybe they lack self esteem, in their life before they got involved, and they need the power for the self esteem. I don't know. I still don't understand to this day why they're left out of the why. Well, anyway, don't want to keep rambling on. Now, I mentioned something about rule number 2, and I don't want to forget rule number 2. Rule number 2 is you start a notebook. You want to make sure it's a fresh notebook, and all you want to put in there is CPS. And you want to arrange your comments by date. And you also want to put who was involved, what child was involved, what water. It's hard. It's hard in my heart because my heart's sad because I think about all these things here. But going back to taking notes, you put the date and time on the line. You put who was there, meaning the children, the social workers, the police, their names. If you don't have them, numbers is fine. And then you want to put what the incident was about. Taking my children, coming to my home. Whatever the incident was, you want to talk about it. You want to talk about it. Because you'll have to refer your notes. And I didn't take notes, and that was bad on my part. There's a lot of things I did wrong. I don't want you doing the same mistake because your children are important to you. But after you put down the names, the list of the people involved, then you want to put the incident, what it was about. You may want to skip a line and put that as a separate line item. What was it about? And then after that, you want to put down what the outcome was. It wasn't settled or you did some other action. But it's really important that you and then after that, the outcome. The outcome is really important. You want to put the outcome, and you may not have it right away. It may come with you in weeks, months, years, but you want to fill out the outcome. And then you skip a couple lines, put the next incident, and then skip a couple lines for the next incident. This is for you to use. You may want to color code it with markers, which is helpful. And the reason why I say skip lines is that you can add things or maybe make notes or something there. So hire an attorney, have a notebook, and say no to social workers and police is what you need to do. Don't let them in your house, too. Don't let them take your children away. Your children are priceless. And studies have shown that the best parents are the biological parents, not the wannabe parents or the parents that have corrupt measure. So, with that being said, those are the 3 rules. And I have about 10 minutes left of my show. And Rachel, if you want to ask a question, be nice. Any of the other listeners out there, I don't know, Faye, you're out there. She usually comes on from Kentucky. We've had some other people the last couple of days that said they want to talk and be like that. So don't forget to email Grace if you want to talk on the show at vincentwdavis.com. That's Grace, Grace, at Vincent W. Davis .com. Now, some topics that are really will help you. I mentioned something called the ICWA. The ICWA, to find it here, was enacted about 1979. It's the Indian Child Welfare Act and Domestic Violence. But the ICWA Child Welfare Act is where the CPS worker will ask you if you're a native Indian, and then they'll ask you what tribes, and then they will check with that tribe to see if you're registered or could be registered with that child. If you are with a tribe or you could be registered with a tribe, then they will turn the kids over to Indian tribal families. See, the tribe takes care of the family and the children and so forth. So they're placed in a lot better safekeeping place, and they will be able to get in touch with their heritage, which is important in there. But CPS can't touch them or abuse them, so it's important that they are in the tribe. And so they're supposed to do that at what's called a safety meeting. A safety meeting is where they meet with you when they soon taken away your children, usually within the first week. And they have that safety meeting to discuss a list of family relatives you can place a child with. That's the best scenario. You don't want to put them in foster care, and you want to put them in the best way possible. Now, that was the ICWA. Now, there's something really other important here. Is the Child Welfare Code. Child Welfare Code. It's in Section 300, Subdivision B. And they talk about, the neglect and abuse and what they're supposed to do and not to abuse. So that's a real good code to read. Look that up. Now, another thing is called a 388 motion. And it may not be a 388 in your state, but the 388 motions are a way to modify or change your juvenile court judgments and orders. It can change your dependency orders too. They are filed when there is a change of circumstances or new evidence, such maybe you had a breakup of the family and the father's gone or the mother's gone. That is a change. Or you've taken program classes and complete them, or parenting classes. That's a change. Or you now are able to take your children back because you got a home or got a job or whatever the case may be. It's filed with the court, the clerk of the court, and then within 30 days, a judge is supposed to have a hearing. That's your way to talk to the judge and talk about the case, because you may have new evidence. And with that being said, your new evidence is really what you want to show them. That's why it's so important there. So, it's that special motion. So if you don't have the number 38 doesn't pop up, then the description what the motion is about. It has to be filed with every opposing attorney. Has to be served, as well as the court. So it's really important you have an attorney do this filing of the 388. But you can file it yourself. You just got to follow the online uh, prompts and the prompts that help you on online, the 388 motion. Now, with that being said, that is going to help you with your case. And lastly, we're getting close to the end here. We have about 5 minutes left. How complaints are filed and so forth. They're with the Department of Social Services. And you can make complaints about custody and visitation issues that were issued by the family court. So you want to talk to the family court service office in the county where the orders were issued. Now, family court investigators, child custody evaluators, and family court mediators are available to provide dispute resolution to each of your counties. So you need to look at that. And then we'll give you a telephone number for the family court services. And you may find it by just texting, not texting, but go to the internet, www.courts. And then you put your 2 letters of your state, CA for California, GA for Georgia, etc. Then you do a forward, then you do a dot and then a gov, a dot and a gov. And that way you can make a complaint against that. Now, if it's child support issues, you go the same thing there. They will help you with that. Now, if there's foster youth rights are violated, you can contact the Office of Foster Care, the ombudsperson. Or you can contact at dss.yourstate.gov. So those were ways to do the reporting of the foster care, hurt by your kids, okay? If you make complaints against the county social worker, you can do so. If you want to change them, you want to do the director of the county of the child welfare system agency, the child welfare service agency. If you will make complaints about law enforcement, you need to go to the Department of the appropriate law enforcement agency, which will provide you details of how to file a complaint. So if you want to make complaints against law enforcement, then you need to go to the appropriate law agency who will provide you details, whether it's the state police, the local police, the case would be. And lastly, there's a complaint about wrongdoing or misconduct of our judges. And my judge was bad. And there you go to the State Commission on Judicial Performance. You have to look that up for your state. They'll give you an address and a phone number. So those are areas in the Department of Social Services, DSS or DOSS. But Child Welfare Services is a part of it. And it's really important that you Google and look for things because there's a lot of stuff that's out there that could be helpful. And help you fight your case. Help you fight your case. Also, you need to look at the Atlanta news about children that were sent out of state for mental. I'm sorry. I was trying to get the link for it, but if you type in the search news of child relocation in Atlanta, Georgia, it will come up. It will come up. Well, we have our time has run up, and I need to close. I want to thank you all that were listening. I hope you don't give up on your case. Good luck with you. You take care, Rachel. Thank you for coming in and listening. I hope to hear from you again tonight. I'm on at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. God bless you all. And this is Bob Pace signing off.